Okay, I'm sure you know what's going on in downtown Fresno. But just in case, here's what you missed. The year is 2011, and property owners in downtown are united in a vote to establish a property-based improvement district. I know, it's called a PBID, meaning the private sector is officially on board with downtown revitalization. Not long after, Washington rolls out the SC2 initiative, and DFP gets not one, but two mid-level professionals, followed by an agreement between then CEO Kate Borders and champion of downtown Ashley Swearingen proclaiming DFP ambassadors for business development. A slew of successful projects herald the dawning of a new age, perhaps none more so than Flip's Downtown Academy, an annual 10-month program tasked with one essential quest: transforming the future of Fresno's leadership. 5 classes and 150 young professionals later, the quest is well underway. IDA handed over several awards for downtown achievement, and many alums have gone on to join successful ventures in downtown, like this one, or this one, or this one. You get the idea. But what's a movement with no call to action? 2013 sees the launch of the now familiar cry, "I believe in downtown," setting the stage for what many see as the most pivotal moment in downtown's revitalization effort. February 27th, 2014. Dozens of orange shirts march in City Hall proclaiming their love of downtown as the council votes to open Fulton Mall to traffic, breaking ground at the very same intersection where this experiment in urban development began 52 years earlier. The flame was lit. Downtown was cool and open for business. 600 residential units and over $200 million have already been invested by the private sector, with another 300 units and $200 million in the works. And they're not alone. After 3 consecutive growth spurts, downtown's first public charter school, Kepler Elementary, breaks ground on a multi-million-dollar expansion to accommodate the now over 400 students eager to find their place at the city's urban core, which, since 2014, has seen the launch of 60 new businesses, including a handful of startups who band together to form the first tech hub in Fresno. Now over 100 companies strong, Bitwise Industries is showing no signs of slowing. In 2018, they'll add 150,000 square feet, a state college, and their first residential project to the landscape. We're talking 2,000 new jobs in downtown. That's a lot of geeks. And a lot of geeks means a lot of tacos. 150,000 to be exact, making Fresno the taco capital of the world. We've even got an emoji to prove it. And more tacos can mean only one thing. You guessed it, craft beer takes over, going from this to all this. We're talking taps on taps on taps, and the coolest use of an old garage since Dad built that man cave back in the 80s. Yes, downtown today is full of success stories. The market on Kern is a bounty of fresh produce and live entertainment. Arte Americas is going strong with nights in the plaza. The Food Expo grows by a factor of 5. Music bands are making a ton of noise. Car hopping ignites a well-seasoned food scene. High-speed rail gets rolling on a stretch of track from Fresno to San Jose. The Grizzlies bring home a national championship, uniting fans under the flag of California. And in 2017, we'll see cars on Fulton Street for the first time in nearly 60 years. What's the point? Well, it's like another young downtown enthusiast once said, life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
It's February 11th, 1990 at the Tokyo Dome. The indestructible Mike Tyson was set to destroy one average Buster Douglas. Tyson was just 23 at the time and the most feared fighter in the world. He was a knockout machine who didn't look like he could be stopped, and certainly not by Douglas. Buster Douglas, on the other hand, had underachieved for so long that many had given up on him. Round 1 came and went without the typical Tyson knockout. Everyone in the Tokyo Dome and the millions of people watching on TV knew it was only a matter of time before the 42-1 underdog was dropped to the mat by Iron Mike Tyson. Rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 expired without the typical Iron Mike vicious knockout. Interesting thing was that Buster was actually a decent boxer, but he always felt he wasn't as good as, say, Iron Mike Tyson. This night, though, he had defied the odds, and the average Buster Douglas had made it to the 8th round. The bell rang in the 8th round. Tyson finally found the power and dropped Douglas. After rounds of accomplishing the seemingly unattainable, fate and past failures had finally found Buster. The interesting thing about this Tyson knockout, other than it wasn't in round 1, was that Douglas, the underdog, the poster child of underachieving, made it up to his knees. He slapped the mat and he got up. Buster actually got up. He refused to apologize for who he was. He was unapologetically Buster Douglas. Fast forward to 2014. my family and I moved cross-country to Fresno. Although we knew downtown Fresno was amazing, we could sense Fresno had the Buster Douglas mentality. Fresno, the Buster Douglas of downtowns, seemed to have brought about the notion that it wasn't as good as, say, Iron Mike Tyson, or Austin, or Portland. Even though we had been defying the odds for 7 rounds, many felt that fate had caught us when our AAA affiliate landed a blow in the 8th round, knocking us to the mat. But just like Douglas, we slapped the mat and unapologetically got up and won a AAA national championship the very next season. Fast forward to 2016. In round 9, Buster battled Tyson and even stunned Tyson a couple times. The Buster Douglas of downtowns also had a strong 9th round. We saw over $65 million of private development, including 109 new residential units. We have opened 2017 with another $95 million in planned development and over 300 additional residential units planned for downtown. We saw 30 new businesses open, 11 existing businesses expand, and end the year with 9 more new businesses in the process of opening. As of today, 2 of those have opened, and we have 13 more pending to open. We brought home 3 International Downtown Association awards, making Downtown Fresno Partnership the most awarded downtown organization in 2016. It wasn't Seattle, wasn't Vancouver, wasn't Charlotte, and it certainly wasn't Mike Tyson. It was downtown Fresno. Downtown Fresno owned the headlines in 2016. Tioga Sequoia, The Lead, Kepler, Cultural Arts Park, Casa de Tamales, JSA, Boys Commercial, the Food Expo, Fresh Yes Fest, Bitwise, Arte Americas, Grizzly Fest, Workspace, the list goes on and on and on. And then finally, on March 3rd, 2016, at 4 p.m., we answered one of the most debated questions in the history of downtown Fresno. Will the Fulton Mall project ever happen? That we all became part of the remember when moment that will be talked about for decades. Optimism rang throughout all of downtown as Fulton Street slowly became visible as the months passed. We stand here today only months away from Fulton Street officially being open for business. Throughout the year, we work with many amazing community partners, and we are extremely thankful for the continued support of our elected officials. Tonight's event, our resurgence in the 9th round, would not be possible without them. Let's give them a hand. I would also like to recognize and thank the board and the staff of the Downtown Fresno Partnership for their relentless support and dedication to downtown. This past year, we saw 4 dedicated and long-term board members term out. Rick Grouch, Mick Martirosian, Brent Weiner, and Dan Doyle, thank you for everything you've done. Tonight, we are pleased to have Mayor Lee Brand with us to announce this year's Al Allen Award winner. Ladies and gentlemen, Mayor Lee Brand.
All I do is win, 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 no matter what. Got money on my mind, I can never get enough. And every time I step up in the building, everybody hands go up. And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there. 'Cause all I do is win, win, win.
Better keep my day job. It's great to be here, especially when we have so much good news to talk about on the state of the downtown. This is the 3rd one I've been to. The rebirth, the heart of Fresno, mirrors the good news that is reaching every corner of our great city. And in 2009, Mayor Swearingen and I started the city at a time when there's a lot of talk about town, but very little action. And through Mayor Swearingen's leadership and my leadership on the council, for the next 8 years, many great things were done, starting with we passed the downtown specific plan, built over 400 rental units, and in 2014 passed a 2035 general plan, the first general plan to not expand the sphere of influence in Fresno and to concentrate and focus on revitalization, including downtown. And after 50 years, we implemented a development code. And after a lot of work, Mayor Swearingen was able to secure a Tiger grant, and we secured the money, and we voted for in 2014 to open up the Fulton Mall. And this is a landmark. Since that decision in 2014, over $100 million has been invested by the private sector, so somebody must know something we all need to know. Thank you. Finally, last year we were able to secure a $70 million grant on cap and trade, the largest single grant ever by the city of Fresno, and that money will primarily be spent downtown. So now give me a few minutes to talk about my accomplishments for the past 87 days. Been busy. Number one, we passed the Rental Housing Improvement Act. For over 20 years, the city tried to do something. We finally had a comprehensive baseline inspection to identify slumlords and move the city forward. We passed the Citizens Public Safety Advisory Board, one of the most innovative boards the city's ever seen that'll bridge the gap of trust between the community and our police department and move us forward on our overall plan to implement community-based policing. And here's the big one that just happened recently. Ulta Beauty has signed a deal to locate their e-commerce plant in Fresno to employ up to 1,000 jobs. And it gets better. Amazon has identified Fresno as a preferred site to bring an e-commerce plant again to Fresno, and we'll find out in a couple months that will bring 3,000 jobs to Fresno. And for every job we bring, there's at least a 1-to-1 multiplier, so that's potentially 8,000 jobs. When is the last time we had 8,000 jobs in Fresno? So things are moving in the right direction. We also had our credit rating recently upgraded by 5 steps to A+, due in part to the financial policies that I wrote. 5 years ago, we were at junk bond status, and Time Magazine had an article of Fresno, the next city for bankruptcy. Well, we're not the next city. We came a long way since then. And because of that, we were able to refinance our bonds and save the taxpayers $35 million over the next 20 years. In the last couple of years, you've noticed this company called Bitwise, who started out with 5,000 square feet, now to 50,000 square feet and beyond, making Fresno one of the tech hub centers in the state of California. That's got to be great news for downtown. And in a few months, we're going to open the Fulton Mall to through traffic. And this is the first time it's been open, and I was here in junior high school since 1964, so everybody planned to be at that event. So on behalf of the city of Fresno, I want to thank you for ignoring the naysayers and pushing forward with a message that downtown Fresno is alive and well, and the best is yet to come. And now, it is my pleasure to present the recipient of this year's Al Allen Downtown Leadership Award. It's presented every year to an individual whose actions embody the pride we all feel towards living and working in downtown Fresno. And this year, our recipient was the driving force behind establishing the Business Improvement District that eventually became the Downtown Fresno Partnership. So before I proceed, there's a short video.
Well, when I first met Dan, he showed his vast knowledge, his ability to share that knowledge in a very kind way and help guide us through the process of our inaugural board. It was great to be part of it. He didn't overstep, but he was definitely in the forefront, and I was proud to be alongside of him.
It's hard for me to remember a time in my life when I didn't know Dan Doyle. I think from really my earliest professional days here in Fresno, Dan has been active in our business community, and he's been active in trying to make Fresno and the Central Valley a better place.
I knew of Dan before I actually met him through the PBID process that we underwent a few years back. Knew Dan from the banking community a little bit, but didn't really do a lot with him until he got involved in the PBID, and I was on the Downtown Association board at the time, and Dan was heading up the effort to establish a PBID for Fresno because he had been in other cities where he saw they worked successfully.
I believe without Dan Doyle, we may not have the Downtown Fresno Partnership. He had created other bids. The one that comes to mind right now with me would be the Sacramento bid, and I believe he was instrumental in getting the impetus going and actually seeing it to fruition. And then he has been invaluable on his input on the board. He is a very humble, bright individual that just contributes so much.
Dan has been a champion for downtown Fresno, I think, since his earliest days here in Fresno. He's not native to the area, but we're fortunate enough to have had him here now for many years. And I think he was probably one of the first civic leaders to show up in Fresno and say, your city must have a downtown, and it is possible. Don't look at what's happened in the past, look at what is possible here. He's seen downtown revivals in many cities that he's been a part of, most recently prior to Fresno in Sacramento. So he really brought a vision for what was possible here in Fresno, and he helped us to see that things that we couldn't see quite yet because we just hadn't experienced it. So frankly, I've never known Dan Doyle not to be championing downtown Fresno. Those two things, Dan, downtown, downtown Dan, they're kind of synonymous.
Well, if there was one thing I could emulate in Dan, it would be his steadfastness and his strength and consistency that he brings to a process like in our organization. He's just been just a real inspiration to watch him work and never get upset or riled or bothered with anything that happens. And with the political process that we went through, a lot of that, there were lots of challenges, and he just stayed steady through the course.
If I could change one thing about Dan Doyle, it would be I would convince him to not retire and to continue to be the CEO of Central Valley Community Bank and to be the head cheerleader for downtown Fresno for like another 50 years. That's what I want to change about Dan. I want to make sure that he lives another 50 years and that he gets to see 50 years of revitalization in Fresno.
If I could change one thing about Dan Doyle, it would be to make him 25 years younger so that we could have him for 25 more years to help revitalize downtown.
So here's what I do want to say. Dan, and to all of you watching, Dan has helped make Fresno downtown so bright that I have to wear these sunglasses. Thank you, Dan.
Please join me in welcoming to the stage Dan Doyle, this year's recipient of the Al Allen Downtown Leadership Award. Congratulations. Say a few words.
Well, I'm usually not surprised about things, but I definitely am, and I'm obviously very honored. And Al was a friend. As I listened to our mayor talk about the PBID and the Downtown Fresno Partnership and Aaron's comments, it clearly is more than certainly one small person. It really is a collective effort that takes both the government, it takes the citizens, in our case, the property owners, because it's really they who vote to allow this to happen, to self-assess themselves, to be the framework and the foundation for all this. Al was one of those people. Property owner involved in the very beginnings as we started this, from past experience where we saw what helped other downtowns revitalize themselves, and this was just one of the tools that many of the communities across the country have used, including places I've lived, Sacramento and Seattle. Al was very instrumental in having the great attitude, keeping us going. I had I was going to say fortunate, but maybe unfortunate, to attend his funeral and heard the story about his fishing experiences. So he was quite the fisherman, and he was quite the believer in downtown Fresno. And so I couldn't be more honored to have anything that's got Al's name attached, and to the good people and the hard work that's gone on in Fresno. And as much as I'd like to say another 50, Ashley, I don't know if I'm in for another 50, but it's been great, and I love the community, and I love all the people and the good work that's been done. And there's a lot of work to be done yet, so I know we're not at the finish line. And Mayor, just one correction. You talked about our downtown being a place to work and a place to live, but it's also a place to shop. And that's really important to our downtown, is to have that revitalization and fill those buildings up and make it a place, a destination for people to come and enjoy themselves. And Fresno is a great place, and thank you for this great honor.
Odds makers and those who followed Tyson and Douglas were in shock as the 10th and final round began. Was it possible? Could Buster, after being knocked to the mat in the 8th and battling back in the 9th, actually survive the 10th against the baddest man on the planet? Just like Buster, I believe the Buster Douglas of downtowns has made it to the 10th round. The bell has rung. We are stepping out of our corner. We have been battling the indestructible, the can't be done for 9 rounds. And this is our response.
He looked fresher to me. See Mike the way he went back in his heels, doesn't have the good balance. His legs together as Buster's landing these. Oh, nice uppercut by Buster Douglas. Look at this. He's knocked Mike Tyson down for the first time in his career. Mike Tyson hits the canvas. He's in big trouble. He may not be able to recover. It's up to 7 and 8. He's not going to make it. Unbelievable. 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 Buster Douglas is the new heavyweight champion of the world.
And just like that, the mystique of the untouchable was shattered. The couldn't be done was completed. We know people gave us 42-1 odds to get the knockout, but we have some things brewing in 2017. With a little more on that and representing tonight's marquee sponsors, Fresno State Downtown Center.
The Central Valley has struggled to find solutions to its higher than average unemployment numbers, and there are a good number of workers who remain stuck in low-paying jobs.
In tonight's Education Matters, Juanita Stevenson joins us with how Fresno State is using its resources to address both of those issues. Juanita.
Well, Fresno State recently started up its Career Readiness Academy, offering a variety of professional development courses. The goal is to train the Valley's workforce of tomorrow. They were given an assignment, a project to work on as a team. A project designed to test their problem-solving skills.
They're given a budget of about $1,000, fake money, and they're asked to build a device that pulls paper clips off the ground.
This particular class, Solving Workplace Problems, is just one of a series of workshops designed to teach people core skills employers say are important.
Creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, and communication are the most sought after skills by employers and probably the least taught by any sort of institution.
Fresno State's Division of Continuing and Global Education is now working to offer Valley residents the kind of professional development needed to further careers through its new Career Readiness Academy.
Career Readiness Academy is Fresno State coming into the community to make educational opportunity available to populations of students who might not necessarily be getting the type of experience from Fresno State's main campus.
They are students like 26-year-old Rebecca Horwitz, a recent college graduate whose career was interrupted by a major surgery. She enrolled because she said she wanted to make herself more marketable.
You could have tons of experience in different areas, but the jobs, they're still like, they have like specific skill sets.
39-year-old Chris Alvarado, who is trying to re-enter the workforce, says employers want you to be able to think outside the box.
Everyone should take advantage of something like this. I mean, any knowledge is awesome.
Fresno State worked with business leaders and community organizations like United Way to get input on what kind of classes were needed. Lindsay Callahan, president and CEO of United Way, says their input comes from what they see dealing with the public every day.
Folks don't really know where the entry points are, and they're not skilled enough to understand how they could potentially get a job that isn't paying $10 an hour, but it's paying $20 an hour.
Fresno State's Career Readiness Academy is hoping to be that game changer by offering workshops in project planning, business communication, critical thinking. It has also partnered with GeekWise Academy, which will place qualified participants in a 6-week computer programming course.
The whole suite of classes is to help prepare somebody for the next chapter of their life, the next chapter of their occupation.
I think it's fantastic because it's free and it's offered to anyone who essentially turns in an application.
The workshops are being taught at the Fresno State Downtown Center, located in the Bitwise South Stadium complex. And thanks to support from Wells Fargo, they were able to offer this set of classes for free.
Our goal with this particular program is to make sure that Fresno State is one of the first places that people in the Central Valley look to for opportunity.
Now, there are a few courses that are still open, and if you want to sign up or if you want to find out more about the Career Readiness Academy, you can go to fresnostate.edu/CRA. And they really want to hear from the public. If you go there to sign up, if there's a class you'd like for them to offer.
So you don't have to be a Fresno State student to take part?
No, it's really for people in the community. It's not, you can be a Fresno State student, but it's really for people in the community who are trying to re-enter to the job market or move up.
It just shows that there are resources out there for people who have the initiative and the time and the ability to make it happen.
And it's free.
And it's free.
The best part.
I like that. Juanita, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
I did 2 combat deployments to Afghanistan and 1 humanitarian deployment Southeast Asia. I was medically retired in 2014 from injuries sustained overseas. I would say I lacked the confidence transitioning to an academic environment. I hadn't been in a classroom setting in years since high school. My wife was a graduate of Fresno State. She actually discovered this program for me, put me in contact with the coordinators of it, and I got taken care of right away. They were very supportive and beneficial, and they guided me through the entire process. With the instructors they have there, with the support system, the resource, and everything they do for you there, it really takes away all the stress. You don't have to worry about where your classes are, which books are needed, and you learn all those things while you're there. So once that year is up and you proceed, to matriculate, you know what's required of you. So you have a nice little foundation, and that's all stems from the program. My goal is that this program spreads and reaches out to as many veterans throughout California and even beyond as much as we can. And we wouldn't be here today if it weren't for the support of Dr. Bernard and Dean Moore and Provost Leslie and President Castro. Without those guys and the pivotal roles they play, this program and myself may not be here right now. So we owe all of our success to them. So thank you all for being supportive.
This is a really exciting thing that Fresno State has developed. This is our first satellite campus, and we decided to make some strategic partnerships and open up classrooms downtown Fresno. There's no other group at Fresno State that has a mission more aligned with the California State University's mission to provide access and opportunity than does continuing and global education. It's our goal to make sure that we're providing unique access points, and that's why we decided to locate in an area that needed revitalization, because we believe in the tomorrow of downtown Fresno. The goal with this is to engage our community with educational opportunity that might not be available on our main campus.
Gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce my friend, Dr. Scott Moore, Dean of the Division of Continuing and Global Education.
Good evening. What a great time it is to be downtown Fresno. Looking around us, you can feel the energy, and more importantly, you can see the progress. Fulton is nearing completion. Partnerships are expanding, buildings are being remodeled, and businesses are finding new homes. Here, right downtown. Optimism for the state of downtown now eclipses yesterday's pessimism. And it seems we're no longer fixated about talking about our potential. Instead of moving north, we're seeing people move south. And Fresno State is extremely proud to be part of this transformation. Tonight, you've heard a little bit about what we've been doing downtown. Our Career Readiness Academy provided training to underserved populations in the Fresno area. We cooperated with local nonprofit organizations, including the Fresno Rescue Mission, the United Way, Habitat for Humanity, Reading and Beyond, and the St. Agnes Health Hub to connect tomorrow's workforce with workshops in project planning, workplace communication, creativity, teamwork, English second language preparation, and many, many others. And because of a partnership with Wells Fargo, we offered all of those programs for free. Thank you, Wells Fargo. Thank you for believing in our downtown. And as we celebrate all that we've accomplished here tonight, we must look ahead and seize those opportunities that continues this momentum. So let me tell you about how Fresno State plans to look ahead and invest in downtown. Our Osher Lifelong Learning Institute just celebrated its 10th anniversary, and we're expanding downtown. Under the exceptional leadership of our executive director, Jill Wagner, our membership has grown to nearly 700. The Osher program engages our community members aged 50 and better with academic discussions and short classes, and Osher soon will offer lunchtime discussions here downtown. Check us out. Visit our booth right outside in the foyer. Sign up and continue your lifelong learning. Also, it's with exceptional excitement that I announce tonight Fresno State's Brew University. As we call it, Brew U. Brew U connects our community with the new collection of microbreweries located here in downtown Fresno. Brew U will include a suite of classes exploring non-mechanized brewing. Our first class, entitled Craft Beer 101, is now enrolling. Craft Beer 101 partners with Full Circle Brewing Company. And right on. Yeah. Students will learn about the commercial microbrewing process, Students will attend lectures in our downtown classrooms and then craft a full batch of beer at Full Circle Brewing. I'll tell you, seats for this program are very limited. We've sold several even before we started this evening. You don't have to be a Fresno student to participate. Go to FresnoStateDowntown.com. There you can sign up for this program and learn about a bunch of other classes that we offer throughout the Central Valley. In conclusion, know how much Fresno State and its cabinet support efforts to strengthen the Central Valley by strengthening our downtown. A special thank you to Larry Salinas for representing our cabinet tonight. Larry. Larry's a great guy. Fresno State is proud to be your partner shaping today and tomorrow's Fresno. It really, truly is a great time to be downtown. And now I'm pleased to introduce our partner in Brew U, Arthur from Full Circle Brewing. Arthur.
We're very excited for this partnership with Fresno State, and we feel that it's not just a partnership between Full Circle and Fresno State, but it's really Fresno State being forward-looking and reaching out to the brew community. They see the tide that's coming and literally is brewing downtown. So I think it's the same forward thinking that allowed 9 individuals that were sitting in your seats to come together and purchase a 16-year-old brewery and really stop just talking the talk and actually put their money where their mouth is and invest in downtown. So we've got So we are very excited to grow this brewing community, and we want to bring things full circle, hence our name. And you'll see our logo that Top Ham Media actually helped us with, so thank you very much with that. And really it represents bringing full circle, and also doing our part to bring downtown full circle. So thank you very much again, Fresno State, for reaching out, and we're honored to take this. And we really hope that eventually, Fresno is not just a place to come to drink great craft beer, but it's also a place to come and learn how to make great craft beer. So with that, I would want to introduce Mike Cruz from Tioga, and they've been leading the charge. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Brewing beer is it's a personal extension of your creativity. It's no different than an artist, painting a picture.
Think of it more as a craft, an art form, a passion.
It's not just about beer. Let's get real here.
It's basically not being afraid to showcase what you love and basically shout it out loud.
You don't have to spend a lot of money to enjoy your life and to enjoy better things. So Craft Out Loud to me means, hey, we're gonna do everything better than our parents did. We get it.
We want to see what other people love. We want them to craft out loud because we're proud of what we do. We love what we do, and we're passionate about it. And we want to know what you're passionate about.
Thank you. So Kevin Cox and myself, we planted our flag in downtown Fresno in 2010 with the hopes of making a difference, with being a part of the revitalization. We saw promise, and we saw the Grizzlies. We saw a lot of ambition with downtown already forming, and we wanted to be as close as possible to that. And that's why we moved across the street from the Grizzlies. And we saw that we wanted to use their synergy to do more things, to be a champion of downtown. You fast forward to 2017 with events like Fres Yes Fest last weekend. And I'm still in awe and high from how successful a downtown business, how successful we've become from 2010. And it's exciting to see this kind of resurgence of breweries and friends that I've known that have been brewing or used to work for us the past few years, coming together and feeding off of our energy. I feel like what maybe the Grizzlies might have felt when we moved in 2010. And it's exciting. And I'm here to introduce what we have brewing up for this year.
In 2017, we have the pleasure of welcoming not one, but 4 new breweries to downtown Fresno. Let's welcome Hop PK, Border Hops Brewing, 411 Ale and Spirits, Zach's Brewing to downtown Fresno. And I would like to formally introduce you to the members of Downtown Fresno's Ale Trail. When you arrived tonight, you received a State of Downtown Ale Trail passport, which many of you completed by receiving stamps from the breweries here. We're excited to announce that this is not just a one-time thing, but a soon-to-be staple of downtown. The Downtown Fresno Ale Trail is a partnership between DFP and all 6 of our downtown breweries. Participants are invited to travel the trail, collecting stamps at each brewery and exploring the unique craft beer scene in downtown Fresno. Once you've collected a stamp from all 6, come see us at our office and you'll have a chance to win something special. If you successfully completed tonight's trail and turned in your passport, we have it here. I'm going to ask Mike to help me name the reigning champion of the State of Downtown Ale Trail. Yeah, go ahead.
Martha Rodriguez.
So Tate Vic from our office will meet you out at the information booth right out front where the Grizzlies banner is, and she has a prize for you to pick up after our presentation. Thank you, guys. As the program comes to a close, I'd like to thank our sponsors for making tonight possible. I'd also like to thank our downtown restaurants and businesses for providing food and goods. Kiku Japanese, Tree of Life Cafe, Casa de Tamales, Take 3 Burgers, Lana Coffee, Valparaiso, Scraps, and Root. Thank you. I'd also like to say thank you to Mayor Brand, Dan Doyle.
Aaron?
Yeah, Craig?
I think you're forgetting something.
Well, I mean, Craig, I can't cover everything. We only have an hour. And I mean, I could talk hours about the great things going on at Arte Americas or Bitwise expansions or all the new businesses that opened downtown.
We've been working on it for quite a while. I think you might want to mention it.
Nothing comes to mind.
Let me give you a hint. It's kind of right out in front of that new Departure Industries in the Patterson building.
That sounds cool.
Yeah?
I'm not ringing a bell, though.
It's going to be right in front of where that new Park 5-story residential development is, right across from Tioga Sequoia, $14 million project.
It sounds familiar, but I'm just not...
Something big's coming.
Wait a second. I think I know what it is. Is this what you're talking about? So I guess someone had to drive on Fulton Street first. And seriously, though, we would like to thank you so much for coming. And we thank you for your continued support of downtown Fresno. And I just want everyone to have a great evening. And we'll see everyone at the after party next door at Frank's Place. Good night. Enjoy your evening.
And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they say there. 'Cause all I do is win, win, win. And if you going in, put your hands in the air, make them stay there.
Ludacris going in on the verse, 'cause I never been defeated and I won't stop now. Keep your hands up, get them in the sky for the homies that ain't making it, my folks locked down. I never went nowhere, what they saying Luda's back. Blame it on that contour, the hood call it Luda Yak. And I'm on this foolish track, so I spit my foolish flow. My hands go up and down, like strippers' booties go.